Okay, so hello everyone and welcome back. So from today we are starting our new batch for IDT. Okay, it is for June 23 and we'll be starting it from today. And those who have known me from the past batch, they know that I teach less and I talk more. Okay, that's the way I continue. Okay, so we are going to start with the part indirect taxation. Okay, which is nothing but our GST. Who all knows the full form of GST?
Goods and service tax.
Goods and service tax. Correct. Okay, you have to bear with me with my handwriting. Okay, I know it's not that good. Okay, along with this GST, we also have an additional part of, we also have additional parts of custom. Okay, this GST part tends to be of 80%, okay, of the syllabus, and this custom, it is actually custom act. Okay, and it tends to be 20% of your course. Okay, this the custom which is there in your syllabus is very easy. Okay, it's very simple things are there. Okay, and as well as it's a scoring as well. Okay, it will help you to score bigger. It will help you to crack the exam. That is the list 40 that is needed. Okay, now few things which has to be very clear before we start. We move on with the course is that see everyone says that you do a ABC analysis and you sit in the exam, you crack with it. Okay, correct. That is the very first thing which should be your target, that I should be able to sit in the exam. I should be able to crack the exam. That the list 40 which is required, that should be there. Okay. But if you see it from my point of view, okay, how I have experience with the previous batches that, okay, I think near about 80 to 90% of them are expecting 70 plus marks. Okay, why it is it's 70 plus marks, why they are expecting it to be, because GST, see, we know GST has came in the year 2017. Okay, and it is still a very new act. Okay, I think there will be very less people, okay, near about only 20 to 25% who have the complete knowledge that what actually is a GST. Okay, why GST is here. Okay, in fact, when it was first introduced, okay, especially the businesses were like, they were not very happy to see it. Okay, why the reason? So I'll give that as well. Okay, what we'll do throughout this whole journey, what I will try to do, I'll try to do that more, is that I'll try to connect you things with the practical example. Okay, I work in this field. Okay, so I know this in a more better way. Okay, that what actually people thinks, how the things are done, how still there is a chance of evasion. Okay, in fact, you'll learn planning with me as well, that how to plan your GST. Okay, I'm not saying that do something misdeed. Okay, by planning. Okay, does the word planning means? Planning means you are planning in such a way that if department sees you also, na, he or she will not be able to catch you. Okay, because this is what the good part of tax planning. Okay, everywhere wherever I'll be studying, okay, wherever we'll be discussing few things, now I'll try to connect you with some real world examples. Okay, I'll try you to show some of my work to you, that if this is there, then what has to be done. Okay, in returns part, especially in the returns part, okay, if time permits me, I'll in fact show you how practically these returns are being filed. Okay, because I do file them every month. Okay, so if time permits, we'll go through that also. And one thing is that right now, don't even think about passing the exam. Okay, why I'm saying so? Because as the time will move on now, you'll see GST is so easy. Okay, it's so easy to be done now, that 70 is the minimum thing that you too will expect. Okay, now if I say you that why this 70%, if they're expecting 70% is like a what I attribute to me is because I'm okay. Let me tell you a story. What actually happened now? I came into CLA not as a teacher. Okay, I came here to manage the workload of Jairam sir. Okay, to help him out, to conduct the practice sessions of different subjects, to reduce his workload. But what actually happened? One day, Jairam sir was not able to attend the session. Okay, IDT classes was okay. He was out. So what he said that Shivam, why don't you go and you try to interact with them? You try to engage them in few things. Okay, and because he has just started the IDT. Okay, I think he was only completed with the first chapter. Okay, so that was the first time when I came into the picture. Okay, I started the session. Uh, Give me a second. Anamika Sinha. Okay, someone is joining. Okay, let us continue. Okay, Anamika. Okay, let's continue our story. So what actually happened? I sat with them. We had a session. Okay, and the feedback which they gave now was was very precious for me because that was the first ever time I was trying to teach someone. Okay, I was trying to be a mentor of few people. Okay, and their reviews were their feedbacks were very positive to me. Okay, and that is the way we started with it. Okay, and in the last batch, the whole IDT syllabus was done by me. Okay, and now I feel more confident about what I speak. Okay, how I teach, and one thing that is always being welcome from your side is that a feedback. Okay, because I know the understanding capabilities are different for different people. Okay, so if there is anyone who is not getting it the way I am going on, okay, then he or she can easily come up to me, okay, and can guide me that how means how shall I continue. Okay, how shall I continue that it will be easy for you. Okay, I know that there are few students will get it in a one go. There will be few will get it in a two or a three go. Okay, but if there is someone who is having the problem in facing this or having the problem to understand the way I am doing so, okay, so I'm ready to change that way also. Okay, yeah, I'm always open for the changes. Okay, let just Anamika Sinha. Okay, Anamika, can you confirm your name once? Anamika, are you there? Can you confirm your name once? Is it Anamika only or okay? So okay, okay. I didn't got it. Confirm your name once. Okay, so let's continue with it. Okay, now let's come back to our studies part. Okay, so as the time will pass on, na, I'm very sure that you will have means I had with it some students in the last batch. I had a personal connect with them. Okay, they are always free to discuss with me different things, not only the studies. Okay, so I'll try to be more, what I can say, more legitimate towards you all. Okay, so I think that would be enough. And as the time will pass on, okay, as we'll come to know each other in a more better way, okay, that will build a good relation. Okay, so the basic fact is that um, I'm not okay. So let's keep this topic aside for the time being now, and let's deep dive into our course. Okay, so this GST, okay, it has came very recent. Okay, in 1st July 2017 was the date when it was introduced. Okay, before we go into the GST part, okay, we need to have a brief idea what actually was happening pre-GST period. Correct, because whenever we talk about tax, okay, whenever we talk about tax, we know there are two kinds of taxes. Correct.
So the screen is not visible.
To all? Is it not visible to all?
No, I can see, sir. It's visible.
जी दिख रहा है सर.
प्रियंका, आप एक बार रिकनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करिए, मे बी नेटवर्क इश्यू है. Is it visible now, Priyanka? I think she has. Okay, she will join back. Okay, so whenever we talk about tax now, there are two branches or two kinds of it. One is direct tax and another one is indirect tax. Okay, I know you all know it very well, okay, because you have been in group 1. So direct tax is nothing but your income tax. Okay, a few years back there used to be a wealth tax as well, but right now it is there, but it is not being levied right now. And in indirect tax we have this GST. Okay, now it is GST. Now this GST has been introduced in the year 2017. But what before that, sir? क्या पहले indirect tax नहीं था? Okay, पहले क्या ये नहीं लगता था? पहले GST नहीं लगता था? No, previously GST was not there. So what was there GST? Okay, before pre-GST, what actually was there? Why do the government really needed to bring this GST on the table? Okay, what was the reason for that? Okay, we have to understand that first. Then we might be able to see GST in a more wider perspective. That why actually it is okay. Because see, bringing an act and changing a system is not an easy thing to be done. Correct. See, the GST was first proposed by someone, okay, Kelkar Task Force in year 2002. Okay, it was proposed in the year 2002. But after that also, it took around 15 years to implement it. Okay, it took around implement it. Okay, so we need to understand that, and we'll understand it with by an example. Okay, so suppose here is a Mr. A and he is a wholesaler. Okay, here is Mr. B. He is okay. Let's not say wholesaler over here. Mr. A is the manufacturer. Mr. B is the wholesaler. Mr. C is the retailer, and Mr. D is the consumer. Okay, Mr. D is the consumer. Okay. Now what actually happened? Mr. A produced an article. Okay, he manufactured, not produced, he manufactured something. Okay, say for example, it was product A. It was product A. And in manufacturing, it costed him around, say for example, 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so what we are discussing, we are discussing this example with a viewpoint of pre-GST indirect tax structure. Okay, so he produced an article, he manufactured a product which is product A. Okay, and it costed him around, let me do like this. Okay, a product A, and it costed him around 1 lakh rupees. In the indirect tax structure, there used to be an excise duty. Okay, it was also a part of, also a kind of indirect tax. There used to be excise duty. Now, what actually is this excise duty? Okay, what was the chargeability for it? When do we really need to pay this excise duty? It was whenever you are manufacturing something, excise duty was levied on them. So for excise duty, the charging or the chargeability arises whenever there is a manufacturer, whenever something is being manufactured. So suppose for an example, excise duty was as the rate of 10%, correct? So what was the total cost for him now? It was 10,000 on the product, correct? So his product become of 1 lakh and 10,000. Okay. Now, what he will do with the product? What he will do with this product? He will sell it, correct? Product, why product has been manufactured? For selling. Okay. So what will he'll do? Suppose for an example, Mr. A is in, say he is in Kolkata. Okay, Mr. B is in, say, Delhi. Okay, Mr. C is also in Delhi, and Mr. D is also in, say, for example, he is in Delhi. Okay, why I'm taking the name of the state? Okay, we'll discuss this point after few minutes once we clear this out. So there on sales activity, there used to be one more tax, which was known as CST, Central Sales Tax, whenever there used to be a transaction between two states. Whenever there used to be a transaction between two states. Okay. Are you guys facing any delay with what I'm saying? And
नहीं सर, ठीक है.
ठीक है ना? चलो. Okay. And there used to be a VAT when it is in the same state. You got it with the word between two states. Means suppose for an example like this. It is from he's from Kolkata, he's selling it to Delhi. So it is between two states. So what will be levied on the sales? CST. Okay. But suppose for an example, if Mr. D further sells this to Mr. C, who both of them are in the same state. So what will be levied on the sale activity? It will be VAT. VAT is known as value added tax, and CST is known as central sales tax. Okay. So Mr. A is selling to Mr. B, and they are in two different states. Correct. So what he will levy? Now on sales, he will levy CST. Okay. Suppose for an example, CST was of, say, let's keep it very simple. Okay, I'm not taking any exact percentage. I'm just taking it simple figures for calculation. Say, suppose for an example, it was 1%. So what will be 1% of it?
1100.
1100. Correct. So what is the value right now?
11,100.
No.
Yeah, 1,11,100.
Yeah, 1,11,100. Correct. 1,11,100. Correct. So this is the total price that he will charge from Mr. D. That is the wholesaler. Correct. So when Mr. B got this product, what was the price of this product? When he got it, it was 1,11,100. Correct. This was the price of the product. Now definitely he will add something to it. He will add some value to it. Correct. Because he will not sell it at 1,11,000. He will add some his profit. Suppose for an example, he added a value of 10,000 on it. Correct. He added a value of 10,000 on it. Say, for example, it was his expense or it was his profit margin, whatever it is, by whatever name you call it. But do you think excise will be levied over here? Make it
11,
No,
interactive.
sir.
1 lakh.
No.
Because it's only for the manufacturer.
Correct. Excise was only for manufacturer. So no excise will be levied. So what is the cost to him? The cost will be 1,21,100. Correct. And now he will further sell the product. But now what tax will be levied on it? Now it will be VAT. Now it will be VAT. Suppose let's take the example, it is 1% only. So what will be the value? It will be a complicated
12,000.
1211. 1211.
1211.
And what will be the total value?
1,22,311.
1 lakh
22,311.
311. Correct. So this is the value that what see this was the value which Mr. A. Let me see the screen. Yeah. So this was the value which Mr. A charged from Mr. B. Correct. And this is the sales value which Mr. B will charge from Mr. C. Correct. You agree with me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So what will the price? The price will be 1,22,311 rupees. It started from 1 lakh rupees. Okay, remember this. It started from 1 lakh rupees, and only the value addition has been of rupees 10,000, and the value has increased by 22,311. It is just up to the retailer. So I'll draw a few more. So what the retailer will add? Will add some value of profit margin to it. Correct. Now suppose for an example, he added a margin of 1,000 of its profit. Okay. So at what value he will sell further to Mr. D? That will be 1 lakh
23,311.
23,311. Correct. And on its sale, what he will levy? CST or VAT? It
VAT.
will be VAT. Correct. It is again 1%. So now it will come to points. Correct.
1,233.11. That we will take 1,233.
Yeah. 1,233. Let's keep it simple. Let's ignore the value. Value क्या हो रहा है बताइए एक बार?
1,24,544.
544. Correct. Now
Yes.
this is the value which Mr. C will charge to Mr. D. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think Mr. D will? He is the consumer. I've said so. No sale for him. Correct. No value addition for him. So no taxes on him. Now see what actually happened. All the burden of the taxes has been borne by Mr. D. Correct. Now let's calculate something. What do you think is in this 1,24,544? What do you think of what value the product is? Product का कितना value है? From this amount, what actually is the product value?
So that would be 1 lakh.
No, why 1 lakh? It will be 1 lakh is the product cost. 10,000 plus ये भी तो value है ना उन्होंने add किया. Plus this 1,000. This is the total cost of the product.
1,11,000.
1,11,000.
1,11,000. Correct. So what was the cost of the product? It was 1,11,000. Correct. Minus करके पता है कितना फिगर आ रहा है ये आएगा
14,544.
14,000 कैसे?
Yes, sir. 14.
14,000?
13,000.
13,544.
44. So just imagine this was the amount of tax
Tax burden.
that
सर
was
इसी
that
को
was
कैस्केडिंग इफेक्ट कहते हैं क्या?
आ रहा हूं. Correct. So on the product which has a value of just 1,11,000, okay, but at what rate it came to me, at what amount, with an addition value of 13,544. That is the total amount of tax that is being paid by the consumer. Correct. Now you will ask me, sir, what is the difficulty in this? It's so simple to calculate. Correct. Why government needed to bring GST into the picture? Why actually it was needed? Okay. So I will address this problem by 2M, 1M and 1M. What are this? Actually, these 2M's are, one is multiple taxes. Correct. Can you figure out the multiple taxes from this diagram? From this diagram, can you figure out the multiple taxes?
So there are excise, CST.
Excise, CST is there, VAT is there. Correct. Multiple taxes are there.
Yes, sir.
And one aim will be multi-point taxes. It has a different name of cascading effect. I'm coming to that point, but multi-point taxes. Are you getting my point? Why multi-point taxes? Excise, we manufactured, we paid excise. We are selling between states, CST. We are selling within the same state, VAT. Correct. Similarly, there used to be service tax. Okay, n number of taxes. So what actually GST has done, GST has abolished around 17 taxes. Sorry, 15 taxes in all total. It has abolished 15 taxes. And it has subsumed all those taxes into one tax, which is GST, goods and service tax. Okay. So now see what actually, why actually this multiple point taxes or cascading effect it is. Okay. Pay attention. I need your attention right now. Now see, the product was actually costed 1 lakh rupees. Correct. On that, we paid 10,000 of excise. Okay. Now, on selling this product of 1 lakh plus 10,000, I'm paying CST of 1%. Correct. Now, don't you think that this CST amount is also being charged on this amount of taxes that I'm paying, that is excise? Yes?
Yes, sir.
So what actually it is happening? I'm charging a tax on tax, and
Yes, sir.
this is not only the one time. Okay, this has been at multiple points. See here, whatever the VAT I have charged, that has a tax element of this CST, this excise. Here, whatever VAT I have charged, it has a tax element of the previous VAT, correct? The previous CST and the previous excise, correct? So this is what this is tax on tax, and this is known as cascading effect. Okay, what GST has done, okay, you will come to know better by this example. Okay, now this was a pre-GST example. Okay, now I'm giving this same example if it is after GST, means post GST. Okay, means it is after the year 2017, 1st July 2017. Okay, so here was Mr. A, the manufacturer. Okay, here was Mr. B, the wholesaler. Okay, here was Mr. C, the retailer, and here was Mr. D, the final consumer. Correct. The value the product which we took was 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now in today, okay, now while standing in today's date, okay, there is no such excise duty. Means it is not has been completely abolished. Okay, but it is only on very few products. Okay, we'll study that also, that what actually those are the products on which till now GST is not there, and excise, CST and VAT, those all are levied. We'll discuss that as well. Okay, so that taxable event of manufacture has now ended. Correct. Now there is only one taxable event, that is we call it as a supply. Whenever there will be supply either of goods or services, GST will be levied. It will attract GST and GST will be levied on it. Okay. For the time right being now, okay, let's think that supply means the sale only. Okay. Let's consider supply as a simple meaning of sale, but actually it has not. What are its meaning? It has a very wider meaning. Okay. But so what will happen on this 1 lakh rupees? GST will be attracted. Correct. There will be GST. Now, suppose for an example, the common rate of the GST is 18%. So let's take it 18%. So it will be 18,000. Correct. So what is the value now of the product? 1 lakh and 18,000. Correct. And when this 1 lakh and this 18,000 is being levied, whenever he is supplying this to Mr. B. Correct. That means in GST, okay, while we are in the GST period, there is no more taxable event, any other taxable event. Means whenever I'll sell the product, I'll pay the GST. That's it. So at what price it has reached to Mr. B? 1 lakh and
18,000.
1,18,000. Correct. Now suppose for example he has done a value addition of let's take a simple figure of 2,000 rupees. So it has become 1,20,000. Correct. And what will the GST rate of 18%? कितना होगा इसका?
21,600.
Come up again.
21,600.
21,600. Correct. And while adding this, we'll get 141,600. Correct. And what he will do, he'll simply transfer it to Mr. C. Okay, Mr. C will do some value addition to it, and he will charge GST, and he will sell it to Mr. D. Correct. So see, one thing that you can see right now has ended is this multiple taxes. Correct. Because here also you will see there is a GST. Okay, but here there will be no tax. Correct. Now you will say, sir, tax पे तो tax अभी भी लग रहा है. Still now there is a tax on tax effect. Correct. You can see here because this 1,18,000. Okay. This 1,18,000 already has an element of GST in it. Okay. And while we are charging this 18% GST on this whole amount, okay, that means there's again a cascading effect. Okay. But that actually is not being done. Okay. Why? Because there is a concept of input tax credit. We call it by the name of ITC. Okay, this itself is a chapter. Okay. Now, what actually will happen in this ITC? Okay, I'm not going to discuss this ITC very detail right now because you might be confused right now. But yes, overview has to be given so that every time, okay, what actually I'll do now, this input tax credit is a very huge thing. Okay, it covers maximum, means the whole GST is revolving around this ITC. Okay, so every day little bit we'll keep on discussing so that you ultimately get it what actually is happening. What is this input tax credit? What this name suggests, नाम से क्या लग रहा है? What we'll do? नाम से क्या लग रहा है? What we'll do? We will take the credit of tax. Correct. We'll take the credit of the taxes. What credit? Why credit? So actually, what actually happens in this input tax credit? This Mr. A, whenever he is collecting this 18,000, whenever he is collecting this 18,000, okay, he is paying it to the government. Correct. He is paying it to the government. So what government is seeing? Government sees that on this product of 1 lakh rupees, I have already received 18,000 in it. Okay. Now what Mr. B will do? What actually it is happening? Mr. A will collect the taxes from Mr. B. Correct. Mr. A will collect these taxes from Mr. B. Okay.
Yes,
and what Mr. B has paid these taxes already of 18,000. So what he will do? Okay. What actually this Mr. B will do? Mr. B will take credit of this 18,000. Mr. B will take ITC of 18,000. Why? Because while purchasing this product of rupees 1 lakh, he has already paid the taxes of 18,000 on it. Correct? So what he will do on his outward supply, okay, we do not call it as out. On his outward supply, you all know it. Outward supply means जब sale कर रहा है, correct? When he is selling, it is an outward supply for him. On his outward supply, how much tax liability is there with him that he will collect for Mr. C and he will deposit to the government? 21,600. That is the total GST liability on him to collect from Mr. C and deposit it to the government. Correct? But you know what actually he will do? What actually he will do? His output tax liability. Okay, if you do not get the meaning of the words, don't be confused. Okay, right now just understand the logic, what is happening here. So what is this output tax liability? What do I mean to say by the word output tax liability? Don't you think I mean to say this amount, 21,600, that on his outward supply, what is his tax liability? You are up to here? Yes, you are with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So his output tax liability is 21,600. Correct? And what tax he has already paid on the purchase of the product? 18,000. So what he will do, he will take this output tax liability and he will less, means he will deduct his input tax credit. Okay, he will deduct this input tax credit of 18,000. Okay, and how much he is going to pay to the government?
3,800.
3,600.
21,800 or
No, 600. 600. So this is what his tax liability is. Okay. Now one more thing is that whenever Mr. B will book this credit of 18,000, whenever Mr. B will book this ITC of 18,000,
Yes,
this amount of 1,18,000 will be reduced. Okay. Now, okay, let's not come to that point right now, how it will be reduced. But you got it actually, that why it is not tax on tax?
yes, sir.
Because he is getting the credit of it. Now what will happen? Now suppose for an example, Mr. C has a GST liability of 30,000 only. Just an example. But what Mr. C has already done, he has already paid a tax of 21,600 while purchasing the product. So what he will do, he will book the ITC of 21,600. Correct? And while paying the liability, he will deduct 21,600 from this 30,000, and whatever the rest amount is left, he'll deposit it to the government. So you'll see that finally government is only getting the tax of this 1 lakh plus whatever the value addition is there plus the GST rate. The government will get only that much of tax. Okay, right now, if you haven't got this thing very clear in your head, okay, don't need to worry. Okay, this is one of the most critical areas of GST. Okay, where the whole GST revolves around. Okay, why people need professionals for GST work? It is this point. It is this ITC why they need professionals to work for them. Okay, but you little bit you got the idea ना कि input tax credit what it is, ये होता क्या है, कैसे ये cascading effect को खत्म करता है, कैसे ये टैक्स ऑन टैक्स पे होने से बचाता है.
Yes, sir.
Correct? This much is clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
यस सर.
Rest all?
सर एक चीज बता दीजिए, उसमें स्क्रॉल करिए ना उसके ऊपर. ये जैसे वो होलसेलर के पास 1,18,000 जो है, उसमें 18,000 हमारा आईटीसी हो गया, 2,000 रुपये प्रॉफिट जोड़ा, 1,20 हो गया. तो 1,20 का 18% लेंगे वहां पे, या 1,18 का 18% लेंगे?
नहीं, 1,20 का ही लेना पड़ेगा.
1,20 का 18%. ठीक है.
आप अल्टीमेटली देखेंगे ना कि ये जो टैक्स पे करेंगे ना, वो अल्टीमेटली 2,000 पे 18% ही होगा, क्योंकि 1 लाख पे जो 18,000 इन्होंने पे किया था ना, उसका तो क्रेडिट ले लेंगे.
उसे क्रेडिट, हाँ.
जो वैल्यू एडिशन करेंगे उस पे ही पे करेंगे टैक्स. इतना सिंपल. ये आईटीसी यही हेल्प करता है, क्रेडिट को आने में जाने में, क्रेडिट का फ्लो बढ़ाने में हेल्प करता है. ओके.
और सर ये वाला नया वाला जो बताया है, जो कि करंट में ये चल रहा है, और पास्ट में चल रहा था एक्साइज और सीएसटी और वैट वाला, तो अभी कोई मैन्युफैक्चर करता है तो स्टेट सीधा अपने निकालता है होलसेलर के पास, उस समय सीधा वो जीएसटी लगा देता है. अब एक्साइज का कोई नहीं है.
नहीं.
वो बस उतना है जो बुक में दिया हुआ 5-6 आइटम बस. ओके.
We'll discuss on that also, that what are those things on which GST is not yet there. Okay, and what is that only thing on which GST can never ever be allowed. Okay, now see, if you remember at the beginning only I said that when GST first came in, okay, it was not supported by the businessmen. Okay, you know actually why? Because what used to happen pre-GST, they can easily evade the tax. Why? Now see, this CST belongs to central government. This CST belongs to central government. So what he will report central about only this product and the excise, correct? Now, whenever I say VAT, now why this VAT is what you know, this VAT is DVAT. Whatever the state name will be there, that name will be attached to it. Okay, DVAT. Okay, for Chandigarh it will be CVAT. For different states, DC, whatever the first letter will be added to it, to that VAT. Okay, so what actually will happen? This DVAT will be deposited to the Delhi government because it is state. It belongs to state. This CST belongs to central. That's why the name is Central Sales Tax, and this VAT has a name Value Added Tax, and it belongs to the state government. Correct. This belongs to the Mr. D. Okay, sorry. This belongs to Delhi government as well as this belongs to Delhi government. Okay. But what about now? Suppose for an example, this Mr. A is not only selling from only Kolkata to Delhi, he is also selling to say whatever Mumbai, he is selling it to he's selling within the Kolkata as well. Okay, he is selling all over India. Now, can you imagine that how much of detail, how much of accounting he has to maintain? Okay, and maintaining so much accounts and maintaining so much that helped them for evasion of tax. Okay, they could simply do what we call it in Hindi, chori. Okay, tax की बहुत चोरी होती थी. But now things are so simple that no matter wherever you go on, okay, no matter at whatever states you do the transaction, okay, you pay GST. There is only one tax, that is GST. So the government and maximum, or we can say that the maximum control of it is with center only, center government only. Okay, so nothing is hidden from there. But still now there are some ways, okay, how people do evade or how people do plan to avoid the tax. Okay, that we'll keep on discussing as the course will move on. Okay, to make it more interactive, to make it less boring to you all. Okay, we'll try to implement the practicality. Okay, whatever is there out. Okay, so if you have, if little bit also you have got this topic that what actually is input tax credit. Okay, why they need to bring this GST. Okay, the GST came with a statement, one nation, one tax. Okay, because in all over India, okay, there is only one indirect tax, that is GST, which is levied, for which there is a single chargeability, that is supply. Now, what actually is a supply? That constitutes our section 7. That will be the second chapter of this curriculum. Okay, so when we'll move on, we'll discuss those and we'll keep that flowing same way. Okay, so you might find that I'm going a bit, I might not follow the way the book has, okay, it's given in your mat. Okay, but the notes I'll share you in those way only. Like I'll go on, okay, so that you get things in a more better way. Okay. Okay, so this is the book I have shared in the group. Okay, whoever has not yet received this, okay, yeah, he or she can directly ping me. I'll share with them personally as well. Okay. Now, what actually happened now? See, we know now that how laws are being made in our country, correct? First, a bill is introduced, correct? Then it is passed by both the houses of the parliament, and then it gets assent from the president. And after that, with a mentioned date, with the appointed date, we call it by the name of appointed date. Okay, appointed date. This act is levied on the whole country. Okay. Now, there in our constitution, there is a article 256. Article 256. Okay, this article 256 gives states different power. Okay, there are three lists in it. Okay, one is union list, one is state list, and one is concurrent list. Okay, I know you all have done this in the DT part, but just to remind you, just to connect with you with that. Okay, the union list basically states the power of the center. Okay, state list states the power of the center state, and the concurrent list is kind of defensive or political matters. Okay, where both the parties can share their power. Okay, powers were given to both center and state. Okay, when we talk about GST, GST is a act where both the center and state works hand in hand. Okay, now see, suppose for an example, okay, let's recreate the things. Suppose for example, every day I'm giving you 20 rupees. Okay, to every one of you. Okay, I'm giving you 20 rupees. It's good, you are getting money. Correct. If you get it for free, you don't see how much you get it. Correct. Value becomes nothing for you. If now suppose after few days, okay, now suppose for example, I kept it giving you on every day, and for 2 to 3 years I did it. Now suddenly if I say now that I won't give you, okay, you won't agree to it. Okay, you won't agree to it. Why? Because your source of revenue is being disturbed. Okay, the same thing happened with the GST Act. Whenever that the first time when this GST was means someone talked about GST, that let's bring a one nation, one tax, let's unite all the tax, okay, structures, okay, this much of, because excise duty has its own act, like Excise Act, okay, CST has its own act, Central Sales Tax Act, okay, VAT has its own act, service tax has its own acts, okay, similarly there were n number of taxes, we'll see those name as well, okay, so all those have their different kinds of acts. But what actually was happening now, somewhere or other, that VAT, correct, the VAT which specifically belongs to the state was being snatched by them, by the central government. Okay, that was being snatched by them, by the central government. So they were not ready. Correct. That's why it took around 13, 14 years for this act to come and implement. Because here, the state revenue is getting hampered a little bit. Somewhere or other, it's getting hampered. Okay, and that is the reason why there is an article, there is a product. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay, it has been kept out of the purview of GST. Means never ever GST can be levied on this alcoholic liquor. If they want to do so, they have to amend the constitution, because it's written in Article 269A. Okay, with this amendment, okay, because there was no article which used to say that central and state can share their power. So for that, a 122nd amendment bill was introduced in the year 2014. Okay, it got the assent of president on 8th September 2016. So it took 2 years to pass from both the houses. Okay, and it became 101st Constitution Amendment Act. These two numbers are important. That bill was 122nd Amendment Bill, and when it was passed, it became 101st Amendment Act. Okay, and with this, a new article has been inserted with the name of Article 246A. What that it says? It says that the power to levy GST has been given to the parliament as well as to legislature of every state. Okay, what it says that the power to levy GST has been given to the parliament as well as to the legislature of every state. That means here both central and states are going to be hand in hand. They're going to work together. Okay, now this GST na, okay. Now, if I talk about this GST na, when I say that something is to central, some is being shared by the state, how actually is it work? Okay, have you ever seen these words? UTGST. Have you ever noticed that
Yes,
whenever
sir.
whenever we talk about whenever we talk about uh, GST, na, these are all the taxes which are levied, not together. Okay, they all cannot be applied together. This CGST is Central Goods and Service Tax. This is State Goods and Service Tax. This is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, and this is Union Territory Goods and Service Tax. Correct. Now see, few things are very clear with their name, that this CGST, that is Central Goods and Service Tax, belongs to the center. Correct. This SGST, State Goods and Service Tax, belongs to the state government. Correct. This Union Territory, this belongs to the UTs. Okay. But what about this? What about this IGST? What is this? Integrated. This is the place where CG and SG works together. But its allocation is that this IGST, at first it goes to the central government, the whole amount. Okay. And after that, central government transfer the appropriate fund to state government. This much is clear, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, when all these are levied, okay, if you remember, at the above, I talked about CST, I talked about VAT, correct? This CST was levied when? When it is between two states, correct? This VAT was levied on when it is within same state, correct? The same goes with the logic of whenever the transaction will be, means the sale is happening, means the buyer and the seller, correct? When the buyer and the seller are in two different states, in that case, IGST will be levied, which is Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act. But whenever it is within the same state, buyer and seller are in the same state. For example, in our example, wholesaler and retailer, or retailer or consumer were in the same state. At that place, CGST and SGST goes in hand to hand. How does this go to hand in hand? Suppose, for an example, the product which I'm talking about is at a 18% rate. Correct. So that means CGST will be 9% and SGST will be 9%. So what will happen? This portion of 9% will go to the central government, correct? And this portion of 9% will be by the consuming state, correct? Because it is the same state, so it will go to the, suppose for example, if the transaction is happening in Delhi, so it will go to the Delhi state, correct? But what actually this IGST is? This IGST is nothing but a combination of CGST plus SGST. Only segregation is not being done. So if the rate is 18%, so IGST will be charged at the rate of 18%, and this whole taxes will be at first it will be taken by central government. Okay, it will be taken up by central government, and then whatever the part of SGST, what will be the part of SGST in 18%? 9%. It will be shared equally. Remember, it will be shared equally. So after that, 9% will be transferred to the appropriate state government. What is that appropriate state government? We're coming to that discussion after some few minutes. Okay. Now you got IGST, CGST, SGST, correct? Yes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. UTGST बाकी है.
Now, whenever we talk about UTGST, whenever we talk about UT-GST, just a second. Okay, whenever we talk about UT-GST, you know what are the union territories? It is Chandigarh is there, Lakshadweep, Daman and Diu, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, they are being combined. Okay, Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, Delhi is also there, but Delhi is recognized as state, but it is also UT-GST. We'll come to that discussion. What actually is this UT-GST? This UT-GST is as similar as SGST. Correct. So what I mean to say, whenever the transaction will be within same UT, means whenever the transaction will be between two UTs. Correct. So in that case, UT-GST means in that case, CGST plus UT-GST will be levied. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
And whenever it will be between one state and one UT, there will be IGST will be levied only, but its segregation will be SGST plus UT, sorry, SGST and UT-GST. CGST plus UT-GST. If it is between one state, then it will be SGST. Okay, that will be cleared by as we move on. Okay, so what actually is UT-GST? UT-GST is nothing, but it is the same of SGST. Okay, there are some union territories which have not yet received the title of state. Okay, so for them, UT-GST Act is there. Okay, so whenever the transaction is between one state and one UT or between two UT, okay, the same rule will apply of CGST plus SGST. It will be changed by the name of UT-GST because it will be delivered to the union territories. Okay, so here also the same rule will be applied that at first CG will collect. Okay, and this UT-GST fund is actually retained by the center only because if you guys have that idea that UT is basically run by the central government only. So that revenue belongs to them only. Okay, it is retained by the central government and central government uses it for their to develop or to match up their expenses for them. Okay. Okay, this all has a separate act for it. Like
सर
there. Yes.
वो जो नीचे समझा है ना, एक बार स्क्रॉल करिए ना, ये जो पार्ट है विद इन सेम यूटी, मतलब यूनियन टेरिटरी से अपने ही, मतलब अपने ही यूनियन टेरिटरी में, तब सीजीएसटी और यूटीजीएसटी लगाएंगे। और जब एक यूटी से किसी दूसरे स्टेट में, तब वहां पे वो आप लिखे ना आईजीएसटी प्लस सीजीएसटी और यूटीजीएसटी।
अच्छा, मैं इसको चेंज कर दूं।
हाँ,
ये लीजिए, UT-GST प्लस SGST। अब ठीक है?
हाँ ठीक है,
क्लियर है ना?
हाँ
एक ही
क्लियर
चीज
है।
है क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली व्हाट विल हैपन, अल्टीमेटली दिस UT-GST इज गोइंग टू बी रिटेन्ड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट क्योंकि यूनियन को सेंट्रल ही चलाती है। करेक्ट, यूनियन के तो अपने गवर्नमेंट होते ही नहीं है, उनको तो सीजी चलाती है, तो ये पैसा सीजी के पास ही जाएगा, लेकिन वी राइट द नेम एज UT-GST। करेक्ट। एंड okay, where I was into this taxes. Okay, all these taxes have their own act, like Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, State Goods and Service Tax Act, Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act, Union Territory Goods and Service Tax Act. It all has its separate acts, but in our syllabus, which act is there? We have only CGST part in it, but don't worry, whatever is written in the CGST, the same things are written in the SGST, the same things are written in the IGST, the same things are written in the UT-GST, only names have changed. Correct. Like for Delhi, it will be Delhi State Goods and Service Tax Act. For Kolkata, it will be Kolkata Sales Goods and Service Tax Act. All will have the same thing written in them. Only the section numbers will change and the place's name will change. Okay, rest everything is same. Okay, we'll also read a little bit portion of IGST. Okay, when we'll be at place of supply, time of supply. At that place, IGST is being touched a little bit in the syllabus, but that is only restricted up to that point. Okay, so wherever, whatsoever amount is required to be discussed, okay, I'll discuss with you all. Okay, along with this, now there is a one more act which is GST Compensation Cess Act. GST Compensation Cess Act. What actually it is, there are few products on which this cess is applied. Okay, it is levied. They are very restricted product. You know why actually this compensation cess has been made? Because while bringing the GST, the states were completely opposed to it. Correct. Because in their share also, center was taking something from them. Correct. Because if there wouldn't have been GST, okay, this 18% would have been completely retained by the center. Correct. But because center is taking 9% from it, so while implementing the GST, center promised state that we promise you that you won't bear any loss. Correct. Because previously there used to be direct, because I gave you the example that I used to give you 20 rupees every day. Correct. But if I stop them, if I start saying that 10 will be to me and 10 will be to you. Correct. So there will be some loss borne by you. Correct. So this compensation cess has been made in accordance with the promise that center has made to the state that if while implementing the GST, if you face any loss, which loss means whatever the revenue you have earned pre GST and whatever the revenue you have earned post GST, GST के पहले या GST के बाद, अगर उस रेवेन्यू में कोई डिफरेंस आता है तो हम आपको वो पे कर देंगे with the help of GST Compensation Act. Okay, they will fill up the gap with this fund. Okay, for that cess is also charged on few products. Okay, there are very limited number of products on which cess is charged, and that cess is retained by the central government in a fund, and whenever a state incurs any loss, okay, the state government central pays them off with the balance amount. Am I clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
मतलब सर की जो कंपनसेशन वाला ये दोनों के लिए है, स्टेट के लिए भी सेंटर के लिए भी?
नहीं, सेंटर के लिए कुछ, सेंटर के लिए नहीं, ये सेंटर ने बनाया था कि स्टेट को पे ऑफ कर सके अगर कुछ लॉस होता है, तो इसमें सेंटर कैसे लेगा? सेंटर को तो लॉस होगा नहीं, सेंटर को तो फायदा ही होगा उल्टा। पहले उनको 18 मिलता था, अभी भी 18 मिलता, प्लस 9 वो स्टेट से भी ले रहे, तो लॉस तो सेंटर को कभी हो ही नहीं सकता।
अच्छा,
ओके okay, so we discussed this, that the bill number was 22nd amendment, 122nd amendment bill, and it passed, it become 101st amendment, Constitution Amendment Act. Okay, now when GST was introduced, it was introduced in the year, GST was implemented was 1st July 2017, whole of India except
Jammu and Kashmir.
Jammu and Kashmir, but
On 8th, it was.
from 8th July, it was applicable to whole of India, because JNK also
Sir,
passed.
7th July.
नहीं 8th जुलाई था, 7 जुलाई को उन्होंने पास किया था, 8 से उन्होंने इम्प्लीमेंट किया था।
Sir, implementation will be on it.
On 8th July, it was applicable to the whole of India. Okay, means within 7 days, Jammu and Kashmir also passed this act. Okay. Now we're discussing some constitutional, means what changes have been made, what changes were introduced due to this. Okay. Concurrent powers on parliament and state legislatures to make law governing goods and service. It means there will be dual control of state and central authorities for all SSCs. Correct, because now it is being shared by all. Na? So for that, constitutional amendment act has to be there, because previously at no places it was written that they will be sharing all the powers equally. Correct. So for that, Article 246 has been introduced, which says that the power to levy GST has been given to the parliament as well to legislature of every state. Okay. CGST, IGST, and UTGST, it is enacted by central government, as we discussed, and SGST is enacted by respective state government. Okay. IGST will be apportioned between central and state in the manner provided by the parliament by law as per the recommendation of the GST Council. Okay. Everywhere now you will find this word is written, recommendation of GST Council, recommendation of GST Council. Okay, what actually is this GST Council? Let's discuss it in very short. It is a governing body, okay, which has been constituted by the president itself. Like they are the topmost authorities who will sit, who will decide how things has to work, what rate should be applied on the taxes, okay, what rate of taxes should be applied. And once they recommend, they will recommend the central and the state to make the what. So nowadays, so if I say that the rate is 18% or the rate is 9% or the rate is 2.5%, who has said this? This has been enacted by, by the respect, by the state or center, but on recommendation of GST Council. What actually is this GST Council? How do they work? We'll read that only in introduction only. Now see, this word, GST will be levied on supply of all goods and service except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Because the article strictly says that, because center were completely opposed to this alcoholic liquor. Okay, they said that we'll never ever allow you to take this alcohol power from us, because we know that alcohol revenue is the maximum. Okay, the most product that is sold on a day. Okay, the explanation to Article 269A of Constitution of India provides that the import of goods or service will be deemed to be supply of goods or service or both in the course of interstate or commerce. Okay, in import goods. Okay, don't get confused right now. Whenever we'll go to the supply part, this Article 269A will be very clear to you. Okay, let's not discuss this right now. Okay, principles for determining the place of supply and when a supply takes place in the course of interstate trade or commerce shall be decided by the parliament. This is actually talking about the provisions of place of supply. Okay, later part. Now see, the power to levy central excise duty on goods manufactured or produced in India is available in respect of the following product. What they are saying, that still now on this product excise is levied. If excise is levied, that means GST is not there. Correct. What are those? Those are petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, ATF means aviation turbine fuel, tobacco and tobacco products. Okay. Remember, this tobacco and tobacco products is not out of GST. Okay. On tobacco and tobacco product, both excise and GST are charged. This is the only product where both, okay, it is a common point for MCQ as well. Okay, like at tobacco and tobacco product is the only product, okay, on which manufacture excise is levied, but on its sale GST is levied. Clear? ये एक ही प्रोडक्ट ऐसा है ना जिसमें जिसके प्रोडक्शन पे एक्साइज पड़ता है लेकिन सेल पे जीएसटी पड़ता है. Okay, rest other than that, this five articles, na, this five product, petroleum crude, high speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas and aviation turbine fuel is right now out of GST, but yes, it can be included, and believe me, it will be included. Okay, very soon, very sooner or later, GST Council will recommend. Okay, and it will be, and GST will be levied on it. But for the time being now, it is out of GST. Right now, GST is not levied, but yes, at future date, they can levy, but alcoholic liquor for human consumption, that can never ever, GST can never ever attract on that. Okay, because that is out of, by constitutionally that has been kept out of the purview. Okay, power to impose tax on sale of the following product is still with the state government, because if they are out of, this GST purview, definitely then excise, sales tax, whatever was there we discussed, that all will be levied on these products. Okay, see, the same line has been written. However, once GST Council will recommend the date on which GST is imposed on these products, except, see the word, except alcoholic liquor for human consumption, and no sales tax will be imposed on this product. This product means, okay, this petroleum, high speed, petroleum crude, okay, high speed diesel, motor spirit, commonly known as diesel. Okay, motor spirit is nothing but diesel. Natural gas, aviation turbine fuel. This is actually the fuel which is used in aeroplanes. Okay, tobacco and tobacco products. See, GST, as per the definition given in article, no need to read the article, GST covers all the goods except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay, so alcoholic liquor consumption पे कभी भी GST नहीं लग सकता, कभी भी नहीं लग सकता. So if they want to do that, so for that they have to amend the constitution, correct? And we know constitution amend करना कितना tough है, 75% vote चाहिए होता है. Now see, it means no GST can be levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Present system of state excise duty and sales tax on alcoholic liquor for human consumption will continue. अब वो अभी भी चलता है. Okay, it is still on there. As a result, the following bill came an act on 12th April 2017. Central Goods and Service Tax Bill, Integrated Goods and Service Tax Bill, Union Territory Goods and Service Tax Bill, Goods and Service Tax Compensation State Bill. Okay. Now this has been implemented in India with effect from 1st July 2017. Okay. Now see, it is the part, what is GST? Okay. Now I think we all, whatever we have discussed till now, you can easily answer कि GST होता क्या? What actually is GST? See, if I read this part, you will see that we have already discussed. GST, goods and service tax, means a tax on supply of goods or service, or both, except taxes on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Because in Article 366(12)(a) of Constitution, it is written that GST cannot be applied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay. GST is a value-added tax levy on sale or service, or both. Why value-added? Because if you remember, we discussed the ITC part. There I said na, कि whatever the value addition will be done na, for that amount GST will be charged and paid, because whatever the GST we are paying on the purchase of the product, you will get the ITC of it. Correct. So it is only the tax on value addition. So whenever you do a value addition, you will pay tax for it. But suppose, for an example, you do not do any value addition. So in that case, you have not to pay any tax to the government, because whatever you will collect, you have already paid for that. Okay. And this is a very important aspect. GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Okay. What actually it is? See, GST has been designed in such a way na, that wherever the end consumer belongs, I need your attention. Be attentive. I am saying that wherever, not whenever, wherever the goods will be consumed, or wherever the final consumer belongs to, means to which state, this SGST portion will always be apportioned to that state, consuming state, and that is why it is known as destination-based consumption tax. Wherever suppose, for an example, I'm in Kolkata. Okay, you might not be knowing that I live in Kolkata. Okay, so suppose, for an example, if I am selling an article, okay, suppose for an example, I am manufacturing, or I am a seller, retailer, whatever you call it, of Lay's, okay, Lay's chips. Okay, and suppose for an example, I sell my Lay's, okay, and it is going to different states. So suppose for an example, let's take the example of Lakshman. Okay, suppose Lakshman is I don't know from where he belongs to, but suppose for an example he belongs to Mumbai. Okay, so how it will work? So whenever Lakshman is buying that packet of lace for me, he is paying me GST, and now it is between two state, correct? So okay, so okay, so what I was saying is that suppose for an example, now Lakshman is buying that packet, and because I am in Kolkata and Lakshman is in Mumbai, so that means it is between two state. Okay, so here between two state, IGST will be levied, correct? So suppose for an example, Lakshman paid me 10 rupees of IGST, correct? That means 5 belongs to me, the central government, and 5 belongs to the state where Lakshman the consumer belongs to. Where Lakshman belongs to? Lakshman belongs to Mumbai, correct? So that means from 10 rupees, 5 rupees will be to the center, and 5 rupees will be transferred by the center government to the state government of Mumbai. Okay, now suppose for an example, if Priyanka is having my chips, okay, she's sitting in suppose for she is in Patna. Okay, so what will happen? Whatever the 10 rupees I'll get from there, 5 rupees will be returned. So at first this 10 rupees will go to the center, okay, to Modi ji. What he will do? He will keep 5 in his pocket, and rest of the 5 he will transfer it to the Patna government. But where the state, okay, where the state it is being consumed. Okay, so it is a destination based consumption tax. Okay, just remember, जहां पे ये कंज्यूम होगा, स्टेट वाला टैक्स उसी गवर्नमेंट को जाएगा, करेक्ट? नाउ सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल, if you are not in a state, you are in UT. Suppose you are having my chips in Andaman and Nicobar Island, okay, so that is a UT, and I'm saying it from Kolkata. So what will happen? From my 10 rupees, 5 rupees will be to the my state government, and 5 rupees will go to the UT, that means central government. Okay, let's see. Today I'm not going very deep. Okay, I'm not going into the examples, or I'm not drawing or writing, because I want these things to be very light on you, because this is what in the whole curriculum we are going to discuss. Okay, as the days will pass on, we'll see that these are the only things that we are reading day by day. Okay, next one, GST offers comprehensive and continuous chain of tax credit. Okay, tax credit little bit we have discussed, but for whom? But the one who have got it, that what actually ITC is little bit also, they will know why this statement is there, correct? Okay, GST where GST is burden borne by final consumer. This is simple. Okay, these are important. GST eliminates cascading effect of tax. We discussed this with the example, and still on. Okay, as the time will go on, we'll keep on discussing these things. Okay, GST brings uniform tax structure all over the India, because there's only one taxable event, and there is only one tax which is being levied, that is GST. Rather than that, there is no other tax. Okay, so because today was our first session, so today I'll keep it light, and I'll keep it up to here. And in the next session, okay, which is probably on let me check once when it is there. Okay, so our next session will be on it is on Sunday, okay, from 8. So in the next session, we'll try to cover up this introduction, and we'll go deeper down into the chapter wise things. Okay, so for today, we'll keep it up to here. Okay, if anyone has any doubt, feel free to ask. And for the recorded ones, those who are seeing in record, if any doubt, do ping me. So I'll keep it up to here. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.